Till now we have discussed linear momentum, we have discussed, then we discussed change in momentum, rate of change in momentum we have discussed. And we have discussed, we derived that rate of change in momentum is nothing but mass into acceleration produced in the body. And here one condition was that mass remains constant. Okay, Mohammed Rehan is not getting admitted today. Okay, so this we are derived with the condition that mass remains constant. There is no change in mass. With this condition, we derived this equation. Okay, and we'll be using this equation afterwards as well. And today we'll derive the Newton's second law of equation. Second law of equation, that is F equal to ma. This we are going to derive. So till now we have discussed the Newton's first law. In first law we have discussed that is force is required to change the state. Force is required to change the state. And change of state means change in velocity. And change in velocity means acceleration. That is, force is required to produce acceleration in the body. This we have discussed in Newton's first law. We have discussed that force is required to produce an acceleration in the body. So qualitatively we have discussed by how much it will increase, how much force is required to produce particular acceleration. That is in second equation. Second equation, what we will do, will relate the force required with the mass of the body and acceleration produced in the body. Okay, so here we quantitatively will find how much force is required to produce the particular amount of acceleration in the given body. Okay, so first equation it was qualitatively, that is force is required to produce acceleration, and in second equation how much force is required to produce particular acceleration we will calculate. So first equation just gives the idea, second equation we can calculate the amount. Okay, so this is how the first equation and second equation are related. Okay, so we know it very well that if we are having a body, okay, we are having a body. If we have to produce acceleration 5 meter per second square, if we have to produce an acceleration of 5 meter per second square in the body, it means that we have to change the velocity of the body by 5 meter per second in 1 second. We require some force. For example, I applied force F1. Okay, body's mass is m. Now the same body I'm taking, and this time we have to produce an acceleration of 10 meter per second square. That means in 1 second the velocity must change by 10 meter per second. This time some force is required, F2. How these forces are related? More the acceleration to be produced, more the force will be required. This is clear? To produce more acceleration, more force is required. To produce more acceleration, more force is required. So here, if we have to double the acceleration, we have to double the force. That means F2 force will be 2F1. If we have to double the acceleration, we have to double the force applied. It means acceleration produced in the body is directly proportional to the force applied. It is directly proportional. This is our first equation. Acceleration is directly proportional to the force applied. So acceleration produced in the body is directly proportional to the force applied in the given body. So the mass remains constant here. Acceleration produced is directly proportional to the force applied. If we draw the graph will be this way. So force is applied, so force will be on the x-axis. And we are seeing how much acceleration is being produced for the particular force. So acceleration on the y-axis. Acceleration is dependent on the force applied. So force is the independent quantity here that is being applied. Accordingly, acceleration will be produced in the given body. And mass remains constant for the same body. So they are directly proportional. So this is they are linearly proportional, directly proportional. So this is the graph we'll be getting. A straight line we are getting. And here m is constant. Mass of the body is constant. For a given mass of a body, the acceleration produced in the body is directly proportional to the force applied on it. If more force is applied, more acceleration will be produced. Less force is applied, less acceleration is produced. More force, more acceleration. This is clear. This is our first equation. Okay. we are going to derive F equal to ma. Okay, so for this we have derived first equation, that is acceleration is directly proportional to the force applied, where m is constant, mass remains constant. This graph we have got. Now for example, you are having football, okay, and tennis ball, okay. Football and tennis ball we have. Mass are different. Mass of football is more as compared to the tennis ball. Mass of football is more as compared to the tennis ball. Now, if we have to produce the same acceleration, on which we'll apply more force. This is football. This is tennis ball.
Football.
F1, F2. So on football, we have to apply more force. More the mass, more force is to be applied to produce the same acceleration. So listen again. More the mass, more the force is to be applied to produce the same acceleration. So here, force produced is dependent on the mass for constant acceleration. So force is directly proportional to the mass. Here, A remains constant. So for same acceleration, if the mass of the body increases, we have to increase the force applied as well. So listen again, for the same acceleration to produce in a given body, if mass increases, force as well has to be increased. So for tennis ball, for example, we have to produce acceleration of 5 meters per second square in both the bodies. Here, mass is more. M1, MF we take football mass, MT football of this tennis ball mass. So we have to produce the same acceleration. That means on football we have to apply more force to produce the same acceleration as compared to tennis ball. You can take example at home as well. If you are pushing a table, okay, and then an almirah. So to produce the same acceleration in both, you require more forces to be applied on the almirah. More the mass, more force is required. This is our second equation. Here see a force is dependent on mass. Here acceleration produced is dependent on force. So force is proportional to mass, where acceleration remains constant. For constant acceleration, if mass increases, force is to be increased as well. So here the graph we have got in first one. Acceleration is dependent on force. Force on x-axis and acceleration on y-axis. And we have got the straight line. Here m remains constant. And here force is dependent on mass. So mass will be on x-axis. Force will be on y-axis. And acceleration remains constant. This graph we are getting. So if mass is less force is required to produce the same acceleration. If mass is more force is required to produce the same acceleration. Mass increases, force is to be increased to produce the same acceleration. This is clear? These two equations are clear? Graphs are clear? Now we'll combine both these equations. So now we combine both these equations. So it will be like this. Force is directly proportional to product mass and acceleration. Force is directly proportional to mass and product of mass and acceleration. Raghav and Sunny are not getting admitted. Maybe they are having good due to poor network. Okay, so from these two equations, we can derive this equation. That is, force is directly proportional to product of mass and acceleration. You can as well see, if more the mass, more the acceleration. more the force will be required. If any quantity of these two increases, force required will be increased. Okay, so F equal to, now we will equate them. Equality sign, we'll put some constant. Okay, by putting some constant, we can equate them. Okay, now value of K is chosen such that when, so to choose the value of K, the unit of force is chosen such that when m equal to 1 kg or any unit you can take, acceleration as well as unit acceleration, then force required is unit force. That is, unit force is required. For 1 unit of mass, acceleration produced in the body is 1 unit. The force required is 1 unit of force. That means for that K equal to 1. The value of K is chosen such that, so for making K value equal to 1, we have chosen the unit of force applied such that when mass equal to 1 unit, acceleration equal to 1 unit, force required will be as well 1 unit. Therefore, K equal to 1. So we can further write F equal to ma. This is our second law of motion, Newton's second law. This is our Newton's second law. This is clear? F equal to product of mass and acceleration produced in the body. Okay. So F equal to ma. This is our Newton's second law. So now we have quantitatively calculated the force required. Okay. Now go for the units. Units, if mass is 1 kg, SI units we are taking, acceleration is 1 meter per second square, then the force required is 1 Newton. Okay. Now CGS unit, if mass is 1 gram, acceleration produced is 1 centimeter per second square. Okay, 1 minute here, minus 1 centimeter per second square. Then the force required is 1 dyne. Okay, how 1 Newton and dyne are related? How they are related? 1 Newton equal to how much? 1 kg into 1 meter per second square. Now convert it into gram, 100 centimeter per second square. Okay, this is how much? 10 raised to power 5 gram centimeter per second square. And this is what? 1 dyne. So 1 Newton equal to 10 raised to power 5 dyne. This is clear? Any doubt here? You all are very silent today.
Sir, dyne and Newton not understood.
Okay.
We are following discipline.
Or you got some dose in other class.
Sir, we are listening to you carefully.
Okay, that's good. Okay, now see again we discuss SI unit is of unit of force is 1 is Newton, and we denote it with N. And SI unit of CGS unit of force. CGS unit of force is dyne.
Dyne.
D1? Yes. Okay. Now see here. F equal to ma. This is the equation for force. Okay. SI unit we are discussing. SI unit of mass is how much? Kg. Acceleration is what? Meter per second square. This is the unit of acceleration. So, and its unit is Newton. How they are related? 1 Newton equal to 1 kg into 1 meter per second square. This is clear? So 1 Newton is nothing but 1 kg meter, you write per second square. This is clear? 1 Newton is nothing but 1
Yes,
kg
sir.
meter per second square. Now consider the CGS units. MA, CGS unit of force is dyne, and mass is gram, acceleration is centimeter per second square. Per second square, okay? Now, one dyne equal to 1 gram centimeter per second square, okay? Now, we have to form a relation between 1 dyne and 1 Newton. How many dynes are contained in 1 Newton, okay? So, how we can do? We can use this equation, 1 Newton equal to 1 kg meter per second square. So 1 Newton equal to, in 1 kg, how many grams are there? 1000 grams. So we can put 1000 gram into, and in 1 meter, how many centimeters? 100. 100 centimeter per second square. So 1 Newton equal to how much? 10 raised to power 3, 10 raised to power 2. Add them, 10 raised to power 5 gram centimeter per second square. Okay, this we have got. Now see here, 1 dyne is how much? 1 gram per centimeter square. So we can write 1 Newton equal to 10 raised to power 5 dyne. Okay, this is how SI unit of force is related with CGS unit of force. This is clear. This is the relation. We have derived the relation. Any
Okay,
doubt in
sir.
this? Okay.
No.
One minute. Okay, go through it once. Did I rub the board? Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, what about physics lab manual?
Okay, 11 will we discuss after 12:10. Okay. 12:10 we will discuss. You get the PDF soon. Today I will do the work of physics lab manual. I will scan it and I will forward it to you. Okay. Okay, so we have discussed CGS SI units. Now, Newton's second law of motion in terms of rate of change of momentum. Newton's second law is what? F equal to ma. This we have derived. Now we'll be relating with it with rate of change of momentum. So rate of change of momentum, what we have discussed? This is change of momentum. This is rate of change of momentum. That is change of momentum per unit time. That is rate of change of momentum. Okay. It was how much we have derived? Equal to ma. We have derived this as already. Rate of change of momentum is mass of the body into acceleration produced in the body. This we have already derived. Now, since F equal to ma, this one equal to ma. That means from this equation and this equation, we can write F is nothing but rate of change of momentum. Force, how the force is related with rate of change of momentum? They are equal. So here the Newton's second law can be stated as according to Newton's second law of motion, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied. So rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied on the body. And the change will take place in which direction? This rate of change of momentum is taking place in which direction? In the direction in which the force is. Read the statement. According to Newton's second law of motion, the rate of change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the force applied. And the change of momentum takes place in the direction of the force applied. The direction in which we apply the force, in the same direction the change of momentum will take place. Is the statement clear? So Newton's second law we already have derived. Rate of change of momentum is equal to the mass of the body into acceleration produced in the body. This as well we have derived earlier. Okay, and how they are related? Force is equal to ma. Rate of change of momentum is also equal to ma. And so force is related with delta t. And here two conditions are to be satisfied. What are the two conditions? So we have derived this delta P upon delta T. Here, rate of change of momentum is this one. Delta mv is the change of momentum. This is clear. Delta P, that is, change of momentum can take place when either the mass changes or the velocity changes, or both changes. This is clear. This we have discussed already. Change in momentum take place when either the mass changes or the velocity changes, or both of them changes. But at the time we have discussed when the velocity of the velocity of the body is very less as compared to speed of light. That is, it is less than 10 raised to power 6 meter per second. If the velocity of the body is very less as comparable to the speed of the light, then we avoid the change in mass. There is very less change in the mass that we can neglect. And then we can say the mass of the body is constant. Okay, if velocity of the body is very less, then mass we usually take as constant. So this change of momentum we can take as m into delta v. Mass remains constant, only velocity change we are taking. This is clear. Therefore, it can be written as force equal to m delta v upon delta t. Okay, and change in velocity. Rate of change of velocity is nothing but acceleration. F equal to ma. Okay. So for this equation to hold true, what are the two conditions? What are the two conditions? And for this equation to hold, what are the two conditions? That is, mass is to be constant, mass must be constant. That is, there must be no change in the mass of the body. Second, the velocity of the body must be less as comparable to the speed of light. It must be less than 10 raised to power 6 meter per second. Okay. So velocity of the light. So two conditions you can read in the book. When the velocities are much smaller than the velocity of light, that is the first condition. Second condition, mass we are taking as constant. There is no change in the mass. Then this equation holds true. Okay, because we are neglecting the change in the mass. Okay. So Newton's second law is nothing but force equal to mass into acceleration produced in the body. Okay. Using this equation, we can derive the Newton's first law. Using the second law of motion, Newton's second law, we can derive first law. How? For example, a body is there. Okay. Now, if I'm not applying any force on the body, if no force is applied on the body, if force applied is 0, that means mass is 0 or acceleration is 0. A body is there and no force is applied. So it is having body is having mass. So if no force is applied on it, that is F equal to 0, then acceleration produced in the body will be 0. What does it mean? It means that if body is at rest, if it is at rest, it will remain at rest. There will be no change in the velocity. Okay. Or if a body is in motion, that is, it is moving with uniform velocity, it is moving with same speed in the same direction. And if force is not applied, acceleration is 0. It means there is no change in velocity of the body. So if a body is in motion, it will remain in motion with the same speed in the same direction. So using Newton's second law, we can derive the Newton's first law. Right? If no force is applied on the body, if body is at rest, no acceleration is produced. So body remains at rest. And if body is in motion, no acceleration is produced. it means no change in velocity. Acceleration is only produced when there is change in velocity. If there is no change in velocity, it means no acceleration is produced. And no acceleration is produced, that means if your body is in motion, it will keep on moving in the same direction with the same speed. So if your body is in motion, it remains in state of motion with the same speed, with the same velocity. If your body is at rest, it will remain at rest. There is no change in speed. If speed is 0, it remains 0. If your speed is 5 meters per second, it will remain with speed of 5 meters per second in the same direction. This is clear? Okay, now we'll take some examples from our daily life. So see here we have discussed F equal to delta P upon delta T. This we have discussed. Force applied on the body is nothing but rate of change of momentum. Okay, or we can write change of momentum is force multiplied multiplied with the time duration. So change of momentum is nothing but for how much duration the force is applied. Okay, we multiply them. The product of the force applied for the time. For what time the force is applied, we take that time and we multiply the force. We get the change in momentum. We get the change in momentum. This is clear? Sorry. So now, for example, we are taking, you are having a bat, cricket bat you have, and you hit a ball. So see here, force applied on the body is huge. Huge force is applied on the ball. And for how many duration? Very short duration. So force applied is huge and very short duration. So force applied is huge for very short duration. So momentum will be as well huge. If any one of these quantities is more, it will increase the momentum. So either the force is very high, short duration, time is small. Okay. So if force is more, but time duration is small, okay, delta P. Or if force is small, time duration is more, we can have the same momentum. So for the same momentum, either we can increase the force, we can apply more force for very small time, or we can apply small force for long duration of time. So for generating the same momentum in the body, we can apply the more force for small duration or small force for long duration. This concept is clear. So for example, in cricket, when we hit the ball, force applied is huge. For small duration, it produces momentum. Okay. Second example, that is, okay, hammering a nail. Nail as well, when we hammer, okay, we apply the force. Huge force is applied for very small duration. For very small duration, huge force is applied. So momentum will be produced. Okay, this thing will become more clear when we discuss this example. See here, a ball is there and one has to catch the ball. Okay, this is the hand. One has to catch the ball. So here, to it. Okay, so delta P equal to F into delta T. Okay, delta P equal to F into delta T. Okay. Now, see here, in the first case, what the catcher do? A ball is coming, it is having velocity, and while catching, it has to come to the rest. As we catch, it has to come to the rest. So, for example, it is having initial velocity u, okay, and its mass is m. So, its initial momentum is how much? That is, P initial is how much? Mu. This is the initial momentum of the ball. Now, as one has to catch, okay, and P final will be how much? Anyone in class? Final momentum, it has to come to rest in the hand, so its final velocity will be 0, final momentum will be 0. So change in momentum is how much? Final minus initial. It will be how much? Minus mu. It is minus mu. Okay. This is our change in momentum. In both the cases, change in momentum is minus mu. Okay. Because at last it has to come to the rest. Now time duration will change. Okay. Time duration. Okay. Now see here, for example, a ball is coming to the hand. I catch immediately. That means in how much time duration change in momentum has taken place. Very small time duration. As it hit the hand, it immediately comes to rest. That means in very small duration of time, it comes to rest. Momentum in both the cases is same. That means in the first case, time duration is very, very small. That means force required is very large. Or we can say the force with which the ball hit the hand, it will be very large. The impact will be very large. Have you understood this one? Momentum, change of momentum in both the cases is same. But in first case, when the ball comes, just hit the hand. And in a very short duration, it comes to rest. So delta T is very, very small here. That means force has to be huge. So force has to be huge. That means the force the ball hits me is huge. And it may crack the balls. The force with which it hits the hand, it will be very huge impact on the hand. This is clear. And in the second case,
Yes, sir.
now as I'm catching the ball, I'm moving the hand along with it. Okay, I'm moving the hand along with. Therefore, the velocity of the ball is decreasing slowly. Okay, as I'm moving the hand along it, that is time duration I have increased. Time duration what I have increased? Change in what time the change of momentum is taking place. I have increased that time. So here, as I increase the time duration, as I increase the time duration, the force with which it hit my hand will be less. If I increase the time duration, momentum in both the cases remains same. So this will as well be less. So force impact on my hand will be less as I have increased the time duration. This is clear? Here, time duration is very small. As hit, very, very small time duration. That means force impact on my hand is more. And here, as I have catching the ball, I am giving some duration. So this will be the time duration for which the momentum has to be decreased to 0. And so the force imparted by the ball will be less. So force will be less. Momentum in both the cases is same. Change in momentum is same. Okay. Now see here, what does this minus sign means? Minus sign denotes the direction. That is, in which direction the rate of change of momentum is taking. In the opposite direction. That's why it is coming from some velocity to 0. That means momentum is in this direction. Change of momentum is taking place in this direction, opposite direction. Minus sign denotes the opposite direction of the motion of the body. Motion of the body in this direction, but change of momentum is taking place in this direction. Therefore, its speed is decreasing and coming to rest. Okay, this is clear now. More examples we can take. Okay, again we take, so force into delta T. Okay, this is small p. Okay, now for example, anyone taking the long jump, if it is a hard floor, as the person touches the ground, the person will come to rest. The person will come to rest immediately. That means in a very small time duration, the person will come to rest. Take it as constant. The same person is jumping, having the same momentum. Okay, and the change in momentum is same. That is, from if person is with u velocity, he is jumping, and it comes to rest after some time. So we take it as constant now. Time duration will be very small. Change in momentum taking place in a very small time duration. The body is coming to the rest. So here time duration is very, very small. It means the force imparted by the floor. As hit, more force will be there on the legs. So force imparted will be more here. Now, if the same person jumps with the same velocity, and here we have sand. Okay. Now, as the person touches the sand, change of momentum take place. Start to check and presses the sand. So it takes some time. It takes some time for body to come to the rest. Okay. This time we have increased the time by little bit. That means force impact will be less. Momentum, change of momentum is same, but force impact will be less this time as we have increased the time duration. Because person as touches the sand, that a change in velocity starts to take place and slowly he comes to rest. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is clear. Okay, glass vessel as well is remaining. Okay. Same case with the glass vessel. Okay. Hard floor. Slowly. Slowly. Okay. So as the glass vessel touches the ground, hard floor it touches. So what happens? The momentum, the speed of the glass, it has to come to rest zero. It has to come to the zero. Immediately it has to come to the rest. That is, in a very small duration, the change in momentum is taking place. So time duration is very small. Okay. So it means force impact due to the force will be very large, and that's why the glass breaks. Okay. Now, if it's sand or the carpet, what happens? As the glass touches, it presses the sand or the carpet a little bit. Therefore, we have increased the time duration. We have increased the time duration for the change in momentum. So as the time duration increases, the force impact created due to the force will be less. Force impact will be less. Therefore, glass may not break. Okay, go through the chapter now. We have completed this one. Any doubt you have?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have a doubt in the first law of motion.
Yes.
Sir, it is told in the first law that until and unless an external force is applied, it will retain its position. The body will retain its position.
Position or state. It will retain its state. Okay. But
Yes,
if
sir.
it is at rest, sorry, it will remain in rest. If it is in motion, it will remain in motion. Yes.
Sir, but like we humans or animals, we stand and sit by on our own. We don't have any external force applied on us.
Okay. We have internal force applied, muscles force. Here, here we are neglecting all the internal forces created. So consider a human being as a thing. Okay. So those are internal forces. So no force is acting. Till no force is acting, if your body is at rest, it will remain at rest. Here we have neglected internal forces. We don't discuss in physics here.
Okay,
Any more
sir.
doubt?
Can we leave now?
Is it over? Okay, 12:10. Okay, see here, lab manual reading I'll upload today. Okay. Now I'm free.
Okay.
I'll write down the reading. I'll scan it and I will make a PDF. I'll forward you all. Okay. And regarding the project work, you have to use single line on one side. On the other side, the plain sheets. Okay. And do it well. Okay.
Excuse
Take your
me,
time.
sir.
Yes.
Excuse